This is a fun build. I repeat, this is a fun build. You do not take this into negative 50 content, okay? You can take this in negative 30, but this is not negative 50, okay? Reason being because this build does not have high DPS output, okay? It does not. It's a good build, but it do not have high DPS output. So the whole point of the build is literally just going invisible and killing everybody. You just go in the crowd, they can't do nothing, and you just keep going invisible, so they never know what's going on for real. They never know what's going on for real. Just a pretty simple build. Pretty simple build. Okay. It's just the DPS just not there when you fight against tankier enemies, and you're gonna see that in a sec. Okay. And then we have our super. Go ahead and kill him. Boom, boss at. Here go the boss. This is what I mean by DPS output. You see how little it's doing? Because it's Spectral Blade, okay? It's Spectral Blade, okay? So, that's why I say you can't take this in hard-end content. Now, you could change the super to Tether, and just strictly just forget about using Spectral Blade, and you'll be okay then. One of you guys asked me to remake this build, so I did it. But back then, this build was broken because the melee stat was buffing the damage of melee supers on top of the stasis, not stasis, the super stat. But now that is gone, Spectral Blade is back to being an ass super, basically. The damage is not there at all. You can use this to take out ants, but it's just not there at all. So now we're finna kill this boss right here. Right? Again, this build is very good for ad control. If you want to do a safe ad control build, this is definitely the build to go, okay? This build is not going to let you down. But if you're expecting, you know, if you're expecting to handle negative 50 content with this, I'm sorry to break it to you, okay? Sorry to break it to you. But like I always say to you guys, every build don't need to be negative 50. Their builds can be for fun, okay? And this is a build for fun if you want to be someone that actually use Spectral Blade for once, you know? Go ahead and kill them. You don't have to be a meta whore 24/7, you know? No, be all that. You can be a freaking an assassin, literally. Use that. Had to go invisible there, trying to play at your boy. I want to take this person out. Okay, I'm about to say the boss is literally staying near me nonstop. Okay, that overload's dead. This one's stunned. So the way I set the build up, you'll never have to worry about ammo, like at all. So I guess I can say, instead of relying off of the sword for DPS, use something else, basically. Right? Use a special weapon that does good damage. Use a special weapon that does good damage, and you still should be A-okay to a degree. So if you do want to take in negative 50, that'll be my disclaimer. Use a special weapon that can handle bosses pretty well. Oh, if they had jumped across and hit me, bro, it would have been GG's. I would have just died right there. I know I just seen champion right here. Champion move the moment it's finna get stunned. This is one of them, like, safe builds like Assassin's, dang, what's it called? Assassin Cal? Where if you're like a new player, you can just use this build and get past any content just going invisible 24/7 without having to worry about, you know, dying in any type of way. So this is definitely like a new light type build. Definitely a new light type of build. Now, if you're someone that don't like the slow pace type of gameplay, then this ain't the build for you. You ain't gonna like this build. But if you're someone that don't care as long as you get the job done, then this the build. You're gonna get the job done. Rid of these champions. Yep. Slow and steady. Slow and steady. Slow and steady. Is that a champion? Nah, I think it's a regular enemy. We still don't take him out though. We don't need no snipers. I was not trying to finish a move, but hey, it worked, I guess. I think it's one more. Can I jump up there? I don't know if I can jump up here. Okay, I can. I can jump on this. Alright. Come down here. Gonna pop out super. We're gonna do something with it, I guess, right? We're gonna do something with it. You know, melee restoration still kind of messed up on it, but it is what it is. Spectral Blade always been one of them supers where it's like, it's just broken. You just kind of accept that it's the super that just never got the chance to be accepted. Go invisible. How did he know I was near him? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. But that's the build. So let me showcase y'all what's all going on in this build, okay? What up, guys? Alchemist here. I got something nice for you. So first of all, peep the drip, peep the drip, peep the drip. Y'all can't say I ain't doing good with this. Alright. But today I'm doing a build that I did in the past and basically remastering it. I asked you guys what old builds y'all want me to make over and like perfect them with the final sandbox with the armor sets and then artifacts and stuff. So one of you guys asked, can I do the Heartshadow build over for us? Okay. I'm trying to dismantle this on camera. My bad. I don't want to see that. Okay. So the exotic we're using for this is Gwisin's Vest. So Gwisin's Vest make it that exiting invisibility while near a target creates a cloud of weakening smoke around you. And if you stack this with Slash Executioner, basically it's an infinite loop. And then of course you got the Spectral Blade hits and final blows become before you go invisible, restore super energy. But back then when I made this build, Spectral Blade was getting buffed up by the melee stat, like I said, and the super stat together. Okay, so it was doing dumb damage, but that's not in the game anymore. So Spectral Blade super is now trash again. Okay, so again, like I said, you can run regular tether in this build if you want to, because Spectral Blade don't really do anything, but we still utilizing the second part of Gwisin's Vest. Okay, now the armor set you're gonna be using, the Exodus down for some more damage reduction. I would say use the Vault of Glass armor, but I don't have the perfect stat spreads for that armor yet. But if you do, Vault of Glass is the perfect armor for this build, simply because you want to have armor charges on you 24/7. Okay, now if you don't know what Heartshadow does, Heartshadow will make it that when you use the heavy attack, you go invisible and fire off void projectiles. Okay, and you get a perk called Shot in the Dark. So when you do the heavy attack to go invisible, right? You get bonus weapon damage for like 5 seconds, whatever, when you get out of invis to do some dumb damage with this sword before it goes away. And then if you hit a target with this weapon projectile while Shot of Darkness is active, it weakens them, which also gonna prop, you know, Slash Executioner for us. And it'll put you back invisible as well if you end up killing somebody with the Shot of Darkness with it, right? So, and then the catalyst don't really matter. You don't have to worry about catalyst. They make you run faster. Trash catalyst. I wish Bungie had reworked it, but they didn't. So, Say la vie, can't change that now. They gone. The artifact we're using in this build is Hunter's Journal, because Hunter's Journal give us Argent Blade. Argent Blade says while you have an armor charge, you use one of them, and it make your sword do 15% more damage and make the sword energy charge rate go up very fast. So if you don't know for sword, when you put a sword out, it takes your melee charge, right? And that's the heavy attack. When you use your heavy attack, that bar goes empty. And then you got to wait until that bar is full again before you use your heavy attack again to do the strong version of your heavy on your sword to do actual damage. If you do the heavy attack before that thing is charged, you get nothing. Okay, as you can see. Just weak damage, nothing. So you want to wait for that to be charged. With Argent Blade, give me an armor charge. If I use my heavy attack, watch how fast that melee charge go up. I got hit enemy. My bad. Got hit enemy. Ah, crap. Okay, my bad. Forgot I hit enemy for that. So if I hit an enemy with the heavy attack, look how fast it goes up. I'm able to spam it way more during that time limit of Argent Blade. Okay, so that's why I got Argent Blade on, so that this can do more damage and spam that heavy attack. Then we got Expanding Abyss on that said void sources and deals increased damage to weakened targets. So basically every weakened sword goes up at 5%. So if weakening does 15%, and now do 20%. If tether does 35%, and now go to 40%, right? So because the sword does weakening, and we're gonna be doing a lot of smoke clouds and stuff through the weekend, this makes it that we do 20% more damage instead of 15% more damage. We got Void Hegemony on, which makes it that when we kill a weakened target, we get a Void Overshield, which we're gonna be doing 24/7. We got Blade Stamina on, so rapidly killing combatants, which is 3. With a sword, we get sword ammo back. So this help us keep the loop of always being able to fire our sword 24/7 without running out of ammo. We got Counter Energy on, because nothing else to put on here. And then we got Diffusion on, make it take 5% less damage from all sources. And then we got Elemental Siphon, making that Void Breaches are spawning even more while we kill enemies, okay? The weapons we're running besides Heartshadow is Deliverance, because Deliverance is a weapon that can stun all champions. It's a barrier weapon, so it handles barrier champions, but if you get Chill Clip on it, the first shot you do will slow people, which deal with overloads, and then if you shoot an enemy twice with it, it freezes them, which deals with unstoppables. So Deliverance is good for dealing with for all champions. In case you're someone that struggles with dealing with champions, this is the perfect weapon for you. It just deals with it makes you not have to think about dealing with champions with your other weapons or your subclass, okay? And it's a strong weapon to begin with anyway. And then I got on Compact Defender, another Void weapon. You pick whatever Void weapon you want, okay? Subclass, Spectral Blade on. Like I said, you're probably better off just using regular Deadfall Tether, get that 40% extra damage, so that your sword can do dumb damage to bosses, rather than you having Spectral Blade, because Spectral Blade don't do anything. You can already do with ad control, you know, with the sword. So I highly recommend Tether, okay? Gambler Dodge, so I can get my Smoke Bomb back, so if I ever in a pinch where I didn't get to go envious, I can just take the sword off, throw the Smoke Bomb on the ground, and go invisible. We got Suppressor Grenade on. Because we don't have Devour on this build, so we might as well have a grenade on that I can throw at enemies to blind them till I get in close quarters with my sword. We have on the Prowl, so I can kill the person that's hunted, and then I go straight invisible, leave a smoke cloud there, just to lean more into the envious fantasy here, right? And then we have on Slash Executioner, so if I kill a weakened target, something like that, I go invisible as well. So everything is just making us go invisible, okay? Fragments, and I also use those to have the most fragments in this build. Fragment, we got Echo Reprisal on to make that we get super energy when surrounded, which you're always going to be because you're invisible with a sword and you try to kill people grouped up together. We got on Echo of Harvest, defeating weakened targets, make Orbs of Power and Void Breaches. We always weakening because that's what Heartshadow does, and then all smoke clouds and stuff, so we're making Orbs of Power with this. We got Echo of Starvation on, so we can get Devour when we pick up Orb of Power and Void Breach. On top of just picking up an Orb whenever will give us 70 HP for doing that. We have on Echo Persistence, so that Envious stay on longer and the Void Overshield stay on longer, and Devour. And then we got Echo Dilation, just so we can get a +10 weapon and super stat, because you want to have 200 weapon stat in this build as possible, so the sword can do as much damage as possible. And then a high super stat if you're running Spectral Blade. Like I said, I don't recommend. Just use Tether, okay? Armor mods, we got Harmonic Siphon on, so whenever we get kills with the Void Sword, we, you know, get a chunk of not a chunk, get an Orb Power. We got 2 Super Fonts on to lean more into Spectral Blade. 2 grenade fonts on just to get some more grenade energy uptime. Bolstering detonation, so we do damage with the grenade. We get class ability back. Resist mods and chest piece. Melee resistance because we're using a sword. Void weapon surges make the sword do even more damage. And then we got a harmonic scavenger mod on, so we always have heavy ammo on us. Powerful attraction, Reaper, and then we got utility kickstart just so we can shade stuff to proc Exodus down for the 30% damage reduction in this build. That's the full build, guys. Hope y'all enjoyed the remastered version of this. Again, strong build for -30 content and stuff. It ain't gonna slide in -50. Okay, you can kill people -50 with it, but once you get to like bosses and champions and stuff, you can be like, dang, this sword ain't doing as much damage as I thought it was gonna be doing. It just don't cut it. Okay, so I recommend using -30 and whatnot. But enjoy the build. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys always. And until next time, stay up.